Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for checking out another episode of Arkansas Off-Road. So today we're going to be talking about a pretty popular topic in the overlanding community, and that is traction mats. I'm sure you guys have probably heard of Maxtrax before. There's several other brands out there, but basically what a traction mat is, if you're unfamiliar, is a plastic piece of recovery gear that has some aggressive teeth on it. And basically you wedge it in between the ground and the tire to give yourself grip and some leverage to get out of a sticky situation, whether that be, you're buried in mud, you're buried in sand, you're buried in rocks, things like that. Traction boards are a great way to recover your vehicle. So I want to start off by saying recovery boards definitely shouldn't be your only piece of kit in your recovery gear. I do believe that they have their time and place in different instances when you're stuck. But I do believe a winch is definitely going to be the best piece of recovery gear you can own. If you're out, maybe you're not in the forest, maybe you're in the desert and there's no trees to anchor your winch on, this is a perfect example of how a traction board would help you get out of a situation where your vehicle has been stuck. I do want to be very transparent and honest with you guys. This particular set of traction mats was sent to me. I'll leave a link in the description below of this video. If you want to check out details, maybe purchase your own, you can find the information there. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is unboxing these, of course. We'll take a look at it, I'll show you the specs, things like that. Then we're going to be mounting these to my vehicle. And then the last part of this video is we're actually going to put these things to the test. We're going to get stuck. I'm going to try to get my Jeep stuck, and I'm going to try to get another buddy and get his vehicle stuck as well. And we'll really try to use these things and see how well they work. Alright guys, thanks for bearing with me there. Now we'll finally get this box open and check it out. Alright guys, so as you could tell from that super boring unboxing, there really wasn't much there or anything exciting to reveal. So first and foremost, my initial reactions. I think these things look pretty dope. I think this orange is really cool on there, kind of highlighting the aggressive tread on there. These things feel pretty thick and durable. One of my first thoughts was, how well is this gonna do on my rig over time? But I was actually reading on here that this has some sort of UV stabilized polypropylene plastic. So hopefully that's going to prevent these things from fading, because the last thing I want to do is have these things get bleached by the sun and then I go to use them and then they shatter in a million pieces. So one of the biggest call outs on these are the actual orange super tough teeth. If you get any kind of wheel spin going on when you're trying to recover your vehicle, these tend to completely melt away. If you use Maxtrax or something, those tend to be built really well and they resist that kind of thing. So this company went ahead and made these a little bit more strong. So we're going to be testing that in the end of the video and see how these do against wheel spin. There's also some pretty cool grips on the side right here. That's kind of used if you want to use this as a shovel. You can kind of grab this grip and you can see the bottom there. You can kind of scoop stuff out. If you need to make a little hole under your tire to wedge this thing in there, you can do that. Again, there's some more teeth up here for your initial tire grab. There's some holes right here, so when you stack these, if you wanted to, you could lock these together so no one steals them off your vehicle. You could run ratchet straps through here to secure them onto your vehicle, different things like that. All right, and the very last thing I'll talk about with these traction mats is the size. So in this configuration right here, when I have them stacked, the depth right here is 4 inches. The width is 13, and the overall top to bottom height is 45.3 inches. So not that big, right? You're gonna be running these on the exterior of your vehicle most likely anyway, because these are gonna be caked in mud and just nasty and dirty. You don't wanna bring that inside your vehicle. So shouldn't take much, you know, room on top of your roof rack or wherever you decide to put this. So I have me and my buddy Harry. We're out here at a little spot near my house. It's basically just this super dry creek bed, and there's a few little trails back in there, but this is the place I think we're gonna try to get stuck. So actually coming in here, I kind of did get stuck because of the washout recently and the rain we had. Anyway, I'm going to drive right over here by Harry's truck and get in a little spot to get stuck with the Jeep, and then we're gonna take the traction boards out and see how good they work. Little disclaimer, I'm not airing down the tires for this. I know that would help tremendously, but the purpose is to kind of get stuck anyway, so I'm not going to air down the tires. And I am going to kind of gas it, you know, and initiate that wheel spin so I can get buried. So don't, you know, disregard the improper four-wheel driving here. I'm doing it on purpose to get stuck.
Come on, Will.
Well, we tried to get stuck back there. It just wasn't a really good spot to begin with, so it's not, you know, anyone's fault or anything. It just wasn't a good enough incline or anything. Anyway, we're gonna go down this trail a little bit and see if there's any better washouts we can get stuck in.
Oh, no, back up, back up, back up. Oh, no, back up, back up, back up.
That sunk, huh? All right, guys, since we're not really having luck getting stuck, which is kind of weird and funny, we're gonna use the traction boards for another purpose, which is kind of building a bridge or making some sort of ramp. So if there's a big like hole or something and maybe your tire can't, you know, go up that hole, you can use one of these traction boards as a little ramp. They have some flex to them, and they can get you out of, you know, a situation like that. So there's a little washout up on this little ridge. I'm gonna take these off, show you the mount, and then we're gonna set that up and let the Tacoma and the Jeep go over it. But anyway, I got the trasheroo in front of this, and just gonna take off the trasheroo with these little buckles. And then we can access the traction boards. So that comes off, and then we can get the traction boards. All right, so here's the mount I made. So you come in here, Harry. Basically, there's just a couple bolts here and some wing nuts that fix these on there. So I'll take those off. All right, here's the mount. So basically, I had a bike rack, little extension here that mounts on the inside of my wheel, and then I just bought a little plate, drilled some holes, and have a little kind of like studs here. So it works pretty cool. And then you can loosen this and run it this way if you want your traction boards that way. You can stop. Don't steam on my face. It might not look like it on camera, but this is pretty big. It comes kind of to the middle of my thigh. So this is like an example of a little drop off that we can use one of the traction boards. So this just helps you decline or incline easier. And again, that's probably gonna flex a little bit, but it's okay. Just gonna kind of find a spot to put it in. And if you want, you can double up, but I think this is pretty good. We might put this here just in case. There we go, perfect. Again, I know this looks like it's basically laying flat on camera, but that worked really well. All right, so you can see we're stuck now. All right, so we got one in the front. This side that's a little bit more buried, and then we'll put another traction board right about there, and then we'll just see how they work. Yep. Yep, it's buried now. All right. Perfect. That worked pretty well. Alright guys, so obviously we made it back, no issues. So I will go ahead and apologize that we weren't really able to run these traction boards through their paces. We couldn't really cover all conditions, but for this particular video, I think it does kind of show the purpose of traction boards and how they can be beneficial in some situations. With that being said, I definitely think there are pros and cons to these traction boards specifically, but you know, honestly, traction boards in general, you gotta think of them as a secondary means of recovery. You know, nothing's gonna replace a winch, like I said earlier in the video. But again, you know, they do help, you know, where they're needed. So anyway, let's go check out a little bit of the damage that was done to the traction boards. All right guys, well, you can tell most of these lugs are on there pretty good. Nothing really happened. I will say this is kind of where that wheel spin was on Harry's Tacoma. You can kind of barely tell that these are rounded off just a little bit. And again, if you go back and watch that part of the video, he really didn't sit on here and you know, spin like crazy. But I will say they held up pretty well. You know, when you go down here, you can kind of see, maybe right here, you can see the hard edges. But this kind of rounded it off. But you know, it's really not that bad. I will say that I wish there were many more of these little orange things everywhere else. It kind of just seems like most of the traction is here in the middle. You know, we did have some, you know, some scratching and dents or whatever right here just from laying on the rocks, but that's part of it, right? Like, that's gonna happen. Yeah, these things held up really well. They flexed really well too, and we used them as ramps. Yeah, I think they did their job pretty good. All right guys, so here's my final thoughts on these traction boards. And I know we didn't get my Jeep stuck, you know, in the video or whatever, but if I didn't have a winch on my Jeep, you know, the next thing I would probably go to is a traction board, because it's just, you know, it's pretty cheap, it's easy to use. But, you know, for me going forward, I don't think I'm really gonna use these traction boards if I am stuck. I'm definitely gonna go to the winch before I do that. I see myself using these as more, you know, as like a level for my rooftop tent. If I need to level out my rig on an uneven surface, you know, I'll probably use it as like little ramps that I can build if I need to get up onto a step up or something, things like that. I already have a better solution, so why would I go back, you know, to a traction board? However, with all that being said, I'm not trying to knock traction boards in general. I do think they have a time and place. If you don't have a winch, you know, I think you should invest in a set of traction boards. Alright guys, I think I'm going to cut the video here. Thank you again so much for watching. If you have any questions about these traction boards, please let me know in the comments. So yeah, hit that link below and check out these traction boards if you're interested. That's it. Thank you guys so much. Bye.